This is the biggest point of contention in roofing today. And before I answer that, I'm just going to mention a couple things which are going to lead into and support a lot of what I'm going to say about how long they last. So today, the cedar that we cut down, that we mill, is very, very young growth. So it's infant growth, the cedar. And so we start out today at a grave disadvantage over the folks that were installing cedar roofs in the 50s and the 60s, the 70s, 80s. And so that puts us at a disadvantage. So there's a disadvantage there. The next thing is, and the most predominant of the offenses, I'll call them, is the way that the cedar is installed. And because largely today it's installed in a deficient manner, and I'll give you the reasons why in a minute. The cedar will often buckle up and lift up in 2 or 3 years in a real distinct way, where you look at a cedar roof and the shingles are curled up half an inch or an inch and a half, pointing in the direction of the sky in a brand new cedar roof. And so if you buy a cedar roof, and we all have to buy pretty much the same growth, and we buy young growth, but I do a lot of due diligence and I get my growth from the best cedar mill that's out there, I have an advantage. If I then install the cedar correctly, which is I make sure that my gappage between my wood shingles is 1/4 inch to 3/8 inch on every shingle, okay? I use stainless steel fasteners in lieu of steel fasteners. I install the cedar on lath instead of cedar breather. The biggest offender for a cedar roof is what I'll call suffocation, the shingle not being able to breathe, so ventilation in the roof. So very often cedar roofs last under 5 years that are installed. A properly installed cedar roof will start with a perfection cedar roof, which is a 3/8 by typically a 3/8 butt, which is how thick it is, by 18-inch length, properly installed, proper ventilation, fasteners, gapping, which is spacing on the shingles, can last 25 years, maybe even 30 years. If you bump up to what I do most of the time, which is a 5/8 inch butt by 18-inch length, Western red cedar, same thing, you install it properly, you can get 25 years to perhaps 37 years, okay? Maybe even 40 years, but properly installed you can get that. If you bump up from there and go to a 5/8 butt by 18-inch length Alaskan yellow taper sawn, same thing, you can get perhaps 25 years to 37 or maybe even 40 years out of the roof. But so there's a lot of answers. How long is it supposed to last? It depends on a lot of things, and but I would say no less than 20 years. And if you're doing everything right the way it's supposed to be done, you should be over 25 years. And if you bump up a little in terms of the grade of the material, you could get over 30 years. But this is not happening most of the time today. So.